Hey guys, Dissection of Violence here. I know it's been a bit. I think I did some videos last week. I can't remember if I did or not, but man, I know I did UFC for sure. I just don't remember if I did the other ones. But regardless, guys, we did well in the week for predictions. Cashed over 20, almost 20 units, if not 20 units. So that's pretty good, not bad. But yeah, let's move into this card. It's a really interesting card out of New York. We have Madison Square Garden, one of the greatest cards of the year usually. We'll see if it lives up to it though. Starting out, we have Dennis Buzukja versus Jamal Emmers. So Buzukja, I don't want to judge him too much off his last performance because just he isn't like this is because I believe that wasn't the best him, but also that is a lot of the things he does struggle with. His footwork isn't great. Um, he had trouble dealing with the kicks. Um, man, he just isn't amazing, but he has, prospect potential. So it's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Emmers here, just because I know this is Bazooka's hometown. Like, you know, they're trying to get him a win here. I do like Emmers here. I think Emmers is a little more well-rounded. If not more well-rounded, he is a little more I think he has more what's the word? He's got more of a reason, like a rhyme or reason to the things he does. He has more of a system, whereas Bazooka just kind of finds things and hopes for it to land. I don't know what their game plan is for this fight, but I think it's mostly to get Emmers on the back foot. Emmers is good with his footwork, his trips. I think Emmers has a good shot of winning this fight. It's going to be a close one, so I'm going to stay away from it. Even live, I probably will as well, but I'm going to go with Emmers here. It's a very close fight, though. Bazooka could take it with the crowd advantage. I don't know, though. We'll see. Interesting fight. I think Jamal Emmers is a very, very talented fighter. I feel like he is a veteran, fought guys like Giga Chikadze, so I do believe he'll be able to deal with the striking of Bazooka. Whereas Bazooka's striking is more his hands. I do think he'll be able to deal with that as well. So I'm gonna go with Emmers by decision here, but it is a close fight. Moving on, we got Joshua Van versus Kevin Borjas. Kevin Borjas, he is a very, very dangerous fighter out of Peru. They don't go away, they're always in your face. Interested to see how Joshua Van deals with this type of style. He's a very, very talented fighter out of Texas. I can't remember where in the States he's residing right now, but all I know is he's a fighter out of Fury FC, which a lot of them have been known to be frauds. But I do think Joshua Van is a little different. I do think he has a lot of substance on the feet. He has some talent on the ground as well. He reminds me a little bit of the guy from the lab, Juan Ho. I can't even say his name, but he's very good. I think Van is very good. He's only lost one time, I think, to a grappler. So obviously he's young and he's gonna have some holes. But I do think Borjas is not gonna be the guy to expose them. I do think Van's a little too slick for him. I think he's gonna be able to slip and rip on him. Um, I think the power difference is also going to go to Van. The size difference is going to go to Borjas, but I do think Van is going to deal with the size well. But yeah, it's going to be a fun fight. Yeah, I'm gonna be excited to see what happens either way. This card is a tricky one, so I'm not gonna have too much invested into this card, but I do think Van's gonna run away with it. I do think he should win this fight. Peru is like Borjas is snappy and he's dangerous, but he's not that great on the feet. Like you know what I mean? Like he's serviceable and he won't go away, but I think Van's gonna be the type to outclass him for 3 rounds. Moving on, we have Kyung Ho Kang versus John Sexy Mexi Castaneda. This is a hard one for me to call because the power advantage has to go to Castaneda. I'd say the efficiency of striking goes to Kang, the movement goes to Kang. John Castaneda is a great fighter. His good fight IQ, good grappling, good striking. The thing with Castaneda is he does get frustrated. Um, he does get frustrated when he can't get his rhythm going, which can lead him to opening up more, maybe getting caught. I do think Kang is going to get a decision win, but it's going to be a close fight. I could see it going either way. It's whoever lands the bigger shots. Um, yeah, I don't think this is a good matchup for I don't think it's a good matchup for Castaneda just because of his style. But I do think Castaneda does have some good moments. Like the head kick won't be there for him. But I do think a lot of things that will be there are his switch stance stuff. It's a funky fight. I'm gonna lean Kang, but man, I could switch back to Sexy Mexi. I'm a little bit torn on this one. Yeah, man. Yeah. Moving on. We got Mark Madsen versus Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, he's a very, very proficient. I couldn't even finish the sentence. He's very experienced. He's decently well-rounded. He's gonna keep coming at you. The thing with Gordon is he's not known for his cardio, so he's not gonna like break Mark Madsen, but he's not known for his power. He's like just somewhat in the middle, if that makes sense. I think Gordon's gonna be able to land the better shots on the feet, but I do think Madsen's gonna have a lot of moments in the wrestling and the grappling. I just think Gordon, his cardio isn't the greatest. I think past round one and two, he's gonna start showing the fatigue. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna go with Mark Madsen here. It's a slight lean. I'm not very confident. It's a hard card for me, to be honest. I could look really bad this card, but I'm willing to die on my sword. So prediction is Mark Madsen here. Moving on, we have Vyacheslav. No, I'm not done yet. I think Mark Madsen, if he trains with Santino and those guys at Fight Ready, he can put up a good camp together. 12-1 as a professional. I think he can get another win here against Jared Gordon. Gordon, he's a tricky fighter to deal with, but I do think Madsen's the guy to take him out and work him for 3 rounds. Yeah, moving on. We have Vyacheslav Borshchev versus Nazim Sadykhov. Sadykhov's he's decent, man. Like I rate Sadykhov's his jiu-jitsu is okay. It's not his biggest strength. He got caught in a body triangle with McKinney for a round, but I do think Nazim's cardio is pretty good. He does get into too many too many slugfests for my liking, but I do think Sadykhov's a gamer. He's dangerous and he's decently well rounded. The thing is, I don't know if his pride will let him grapple with Borshchev, and I think Borshchev's takedown defense is decent enough to where he can deal with Nazim. I think Nazim's more a defensive wrestler than an offensive wrestler. I'm gonna go with Borshchev here. I think he's gonna be able to land the better shots, potentially even get a finish with body shot. I'm gonna go with Borshchev. I like the team he has at Alpha Male. He's works with good guys. I'm gonna go with Borshchev, man. He's a fun fighter to watch. He's very, very educated on the feet. Can he be chinned? Of course. Can he be beat by submission? I don't know. He seems to have pretty good sub defense, but I do think Sadykhov's well-rounded. It could make this fight interesting, but I'm gonna go with Borshchev here. Got him at underdog odds. I'm gonna probably ride that one out. Yeah, guys. But yeah, it's definitely a battle of the contenders. These guys are definitely two contenders in their own right. Borshchev's kind of not seen in the spotlight as his losses have been due to grappling, so people just assume he can't grapple. I think he's been working on his grappling, so we'll see how it looks in this fight. Moving on, we have Roosevelt Roberts versus Mateusz Rebecki. I'll save you guys a lot of time. This shouldn't take long. Rebecki should run through Roberts. Should. I don't know how his cardio is going to deal with Roberts. Roberts has some decent jiu-jitsu, but the level of wrestling of Rebecki, I do think he's not a fantastic wrestler, but he's good enough to where I think he'll cause Roberts problems. He hits really hard as well. I like Rebecki here. It's a pretty straightforward fight. Roberts is experienced and he's dangerous, but I just think he's not in the same league as Rebecki. I think Rebecki is just a little bit too talented and dangerous for Roberts. I think he's gonna get him out of there. Moving on. But yeah, he's probably gonna be my lock of the card. Moving on, we have Tabitha Ricci versus Lupita Godinez. Lupita is a very, very crafty fighter. She's got some decent wrestling, some nice hands. She's a gritty, she's tough. Um, but the thing about Lupita is she doesn't like adjust to game plans that well. Like she has a game plan and then it's not great once like it gets screwed up. She's a Canadian Mexican, so I do think she has a lot riding on this as far as like the UFC promoting her. They're trying to like promote the Canadian market and the Mexican market, so I do believe Lupita does have a lot of pressure of what she fights. Whereas Ricci, no one really expects her ever to win because of her looks, and I do think Ricci is quietly working in the dark to maybe pull an upset here. I know a lot of people aren't counting her out, but I do think Ricci is definitely at if not a boxing discrepancy, I do think she's like a raw, you know, like meanness to her. I do think Ricci's the better jiu-jitsu player by far, but and better judoka as well. But I just think Ricci and the better athlete in my opinion too. But I don't know, man. I just think Lupita's a dog, and I think she can make this ugly enough to win in her favor. It's a close fight. I'm leaning Lupita, but it could go either way. Moving on, we have Alessandro Costa versus Steve Erceg. Erceg. So Erceg's a very, very talented fighter. Good striking, good jiu-jitsu, decent wrestling, good takedown defense. He's a bit untested. Dvorak's not the greatest fighter in the division, so we truly don't know how good he is. I think Erceg wins this fight. I feel like he's going to confuse all Costa on the feet. And on the ground, I feel like it'll feel like it'll be even. If not, Erceg might have a slight grappling advantage. I don't know. I like what I've seen out of Erceg. He looked really good in his last fight. But to see him up close in Canada, I'm gonna go with Erceg here. I have him by let's go TKO in the second round. It's gonna be a fun fight though. While it's alive. Costa trains with good guys. Lopes, a lot of guys who train together on this card. Costa, Lopes, Godinez. So I'm interested to see how this night goes. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Erceg here by second round TKO. Moving on, we have Diego Lopes versus Pat Sabatini. So Diego Lopes is like the star right now to the gym. After his close fight with, or it should have been a close fight with Mazlar Evloev. I thought Evloev did enough to win. Lopes is 2 contend on his back, but he does throw up things and had a lot of good submission attempts. I don't see him getting those submission attempts off on Sabatini. I think Sabatini is a little too good for him. Maybe he breaks Sabatini's arm like Sabatini arm like what happened in the past, but I just don't see that happening. I think the grappling at Philly is just too good. Maybe it happens, but I'm probably gonna sit this one out. There's a lot of fights that are just like confusing to me. I'm gonna go with Sabatini though. I'm gonna have him winning by decision, just staying on top and dominating the positions, landing good ground and pound, landing the shots when needed. I feel like he's the smarter fighter, good cage takedowns, good work, smart. Can be dangerous on the feet too, if not really, but his striking's not terrible. I mean, like it's not the worst thing in the world. I do think he can hang on the feet with Diego Lopes, but could Lopes catch him? Maybe. I don't know. This is a fun fight, though. I'm rooting for Lopes, but I think Sabatini wins this. Moving on, we have Benoit St Denis versus Matt Fevola. Interesting fight. I'm going with Benoit St Denis. Very close fight. I do think Matt Fevola has a lot of ways to win this fight. When he gets backed up against the cage, you can look for counters on St Denis. He's very good at timing counters. And St. Denis is very, very open when he's throwing against the cage. Um, the body kicks, he could counter those body kicks with some overhands, catch kicks. I do think for Vol's Thai background, I think he'll be able to hang with St. Denis as long as he doesn't get Giga Chad out of the way. Like, I don't see many people Giga Chadding Matt Favola, so I don't see that happening, but maybe it does. I mean, one of the Giga Chads, couldn't do it, so I don't see why Dennis can. Dennis can just kick, and Dober can't, so you never know. Maybe Dennis breaks the forearms of Favola and just breaks them down methodically like he has the last two guys. But I don't see that happening. I see Benoit Saint Denis just winning a war against Favola, winning a decision. Maybe even TKOing him as well. I just think this is a hard fight to call. Be confident either way. It's gonna be a fun fight though, that's for sure. I got Benoit St Denis by unanimous or split decision. Moving on. We have Mackenzie Dern versus Jessica Andrade. Probably one of the most linear picks in the card, even though it's women's MMA. I got Mackenzie Dern. She never gets chinned. She's got really good jiu-jitsu and takedowns, or not really good jiu-jitsu and decent judo. I do think she wins this matchup pretty easily. I feel like she's on a roll right now with her hands. Um, she's riding with confidence. Still angry from the divorce. I just think she's still, a solid pick for us right now. I'm gonna go with Dern here, getting Andrade out of there, either by submission or TKO. I'm gonna go by TKO just because that's how Andrade tends to lose. Submission, yeah, but I don't. Dern's like, I don't know. She prefers she had struggle with the TKO in her last fight with Angela Hill or the submission. So I think I don't know. This is a weird one though. It could go either way, submission or TKO, but I'm gonna go with TKO by Dern. Fun fight. I'm definitely going with Dern though as a prediction. Andrade could catch her, but she lost. Her and her wife split up. She's just not in a great headspace. She's at Extreme Couture now. I just don't think she's the same person she once was. She's a 50-50 fighter now. It is what it is. Moving on, we have Tom Aspinall, or she's turning into a 50-50 fighter. Sorry, Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich. Fun fight. If this was a full camp, I'd have Tom all day, lock of the card. But it is not a full camp. We have 2 weeks notice. Sergey is very very dangerous with his hands. Tom's chin's a little too high for my liking. I'm gonna go with Aspinall here just because he's a better all around martial artist. But man, this could easily just be a simple Sergey. It's awkward Russian like Moscow style like hands. Like man, these guys are a little different over there. The Fedor squad, they're very unorthodox with the way they're throwing their combinations, and I do think Aspinall is very more traditional, so he could get caught with the unorthodox style of Sergey. I'm going with Tom just because he has the option to take him down and grapple him if need be. Sergey's more of a like wrestling. His jiu-jitsu isn't his strongest, and I don't believe his once he's on his back, he's very good either. So I'm going to go with Aspinall here, but it's definitely a hard fight to call on short notice, for sure. Moving on, we have Alex Poatan Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. Prohaska is a very, very dangerous man. Well-rounded. He can somehow find his way out of the bad situations, and he finds himself into good grappling situations. So I can see a lot of situations where Alex doesn't think that Prohaska's grappling will be a threat, and then it just becomes a threat. Like Prohaska's a veteran, 29, 3-1. Um, I mean that submission win over Glover maybe just a fluke, but I don't believe so. I think Prohaska just can be that dangerous at times, and I do think Prohaska it's a good shot he wins this. Just having the grappling advantage alone is a lot to say he could win this. But I do think Pereira's worked on his grappling enough to where he should be able to win this fight. I'm gonna go with Pereira by KO, but I would not be surprised at all if he gets KO'd or submitted, because Prohaska is a live by the sword, die by the sword type of guy. So I have both these events, main and co-events, not going to a decision. I might even go with the props, man, because I'm not liking these money line. I'll give you guys my top five most confident picks, but yeah, man, Prohaska, I have Pereira catching him early, if not second or third. This is a fun one though. I'm definitely excited for this. Most confident pick of the card, we got Mateus Rebecki. Number two, I'd have to say Mackenzie Dern. Number three, I'd have to say Steve Erceg. Number four, I would have to say this is tricky. Joshua Van. And number five, I'd have to say uh, I don't know, man. This is tricky. Maybe Pat Sabatini, number five. Hard card to call. I'm gonna go with these guys as my top five and as my picks. Like, subscribe. You know the drill. Let me know who you like in the comments section, and I'll catch you next time.